So, how do you roll out systems training? Many companies do it something like this. They show the users transactionally how to click here, click there, and click here. Is this really effective? Not in our experience. Users end up memorizing clicks rather than gaining the critical business and process knowledge required to use the system effectively. This is a waste of a valuable learning opportunity. One of the most critical elements that impact the effectiveness of user adoption in the workplace is the contextualizing of the system within the business process. Can-Do has developed a high-touch, low-tech methodology, which results in the user fully grasping the business processes that they are involved in, and the impact their role and their personal performance levels have on the ability of the business to achieve the expected business performance results. We call it Process Embedment workshops. The idea is rather simple. We start off creating a simplified process diagram derived from the fairly complex business process diagrams within the organization. From this, we can explain a number of critical elements of the process. Typically, we start by covering the following 6 elements. First, the inputs that trigger the process. Second, the key risks and risk points within the process. Third, policies that govern the process. Fourth, activities involved in each process. Fifth, the personal roles and responsibility of each person involved in the process. And sixth, service level agreements between departments or functional areas at key integration points. We use these 6 key topics as a catalyst for uncovering other critical issues, behaviors, and measurements that impact business performance within the integrated process. So how do we do this? Let us show you. First, we look at the process inputs. These are all the actions that trigger the process to begin. Explaining process inputs to users allows them to see where the information comes from and where it goes to afterwards, and gives insight into key integration points within the process. This enables users to understand why key measures are required and why accurate and quality work is important. They are able to see what information is required before they can begin each step within the process. It also ensures users understand the critical importance of certain fields, both mandatory and non-mandatory, in processing the transaction correctly. Users begin to understand the impact their work has on other people involved in the process. Next, we get the users to identify the risks and critical risk points within the process. By highlighting risks, users are now able to see the risks associated with each step. They are able to see the cause of risks and how process activities are directly affected by this risk. This equips the user with the knowledge to understand where bottlenecks may occur within the process and to understand how to avoid these bottlenecks. Once we have highlighted the risks, we identify the business policies and rules put in place by the organization to govern the process and mitigate the risks. This ensures that users understand how important knowledge of and compliance to policies, procedures, and business rules are. They begin to understand firstly how policies can mitigate risks, and secondly, the potential cost of ignoring these policies and rules. Next, we get the users to identify the ERP system activities that take place throughout the process. This lays a solid foundation for contextualized systems training. This step also gives the opportunity to discuss other non-ERP procedures embedded in the process. In this step, we identify the particular business role responsible for each activity in the process. We then ask the users to come and place their name against all the activities which they perform. This immediately shows everyone involved in the process where people are performing outside of their role, or where people are not performing the tasks that they should be. The roles and responsibility element generates a lot of discussion on who is responsible for what. This results in the learner taking personal responsibility for the activities that they are involved in. This also increases the level of user engagement and has proven to be an extremely effective change management tool. Once users have gained clarity on their role and responsibilities within a process, the facilitator poses some key questions which encourage users to think through a number of what-if scenarios. For example, what if this order is not authorized on time? It's at this point that users discuss and contract around existing or required service level agreements and measurements within the process to ensure smooth transition between key integration points. Process embedment workshops are a very high-touch, low-tech methodology. They are highly graphical, with the users walking up to the board and physically sticking on graphics that represent different parts of the process. They are engaging, interactive, and stimulating as they encourage users to think during debates and discussions. These workshops represent a true adult learning methodology with increased retention. They are easy to design and a skilled facilitator can implement them quickly. Once we have completed a process embedment workshop, we have an organized, contextualized platform on which we can teach systems functionality. This time when your users click on that, and that, and that, they know exactly why. The user now understands how the system supports and enables the business process, and how they personally impact on the process. This leads to a change in behavior, and that is real learning. Whatever the training requirements, we can do.